In this video, I'm going to be trying out a brand new series that I'm just going to call Hot Toys Market Watch. And basically in these videos, we are just going to be going through different eBay sold listings, taking a look at what figures are selling, which figures I think are notable for trending upwards or downwards, and see if we can get any type of, information on what we think of the broader market from some of these different figures. If you guys like this type of content, like this type of video, let me know in the comment section if you guys want me to make this a continuous series, maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks that you guys think you would enjoy. Let me know in the comment section down below. But this is Six Scale Economist. Let's jump right into it. What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to another video. This is Six Scale Economist. In today's video, as I mentioned in the intro, we are going to be trying out this new series, which I'm going to be calling Hot Toys Market Watch, where we're going to be going over different eBay sold listings, Marvel, Star Wars, see what we're thinking, what figures are selling, what were some good deals, what were some bad deals, and how we can use this information to get a broader view of what's going on in the overall market. And the first one that's catching my eye, just jumping right into it, is this Gladiator Thor. In this one, it's going to be a video, going to be a little more laid back, have some music going, and we're just going to talk through some of these. So, Gladiator Thor has really caught my attention over the past couple of weeks. This figure has seriously been trending downwards, as you can see in just these most recent sold listings. And for those of you guys that use eBay to try and get an idea of what's going on in the market, just remember, always look at sold listings. It does not matter what people are listing figures for. It only matters what figures are selling for. So as you can see, like just as soon as yesterday, this figure sold for $280 pre-owned, $275, $300, $350. This one is a pretty big one at $475. This is more where this figure usually sells for, as it is basically people's opinion the best version of Thor. But as you can see, if you go back just as much as okay, so these are Gladiator Hulks. But if you go back like 3 or 4 months when Thor was really in the spotlight, this was easily a $400 bill for this figure, $450. To see this figure drop all the way to $280, I think is really interesting, and I think is maybe a telling sign of what's going on in the overall market. I really think that these Ahsoka and 501st and this Clone Wars movement and Mandalorian Season 2 is really starting to push Star Wars into the spotlight. Similar story for Deluxe Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, except this one's different because obviously we did have the Infinity War Star-Lord come out, so that's obviously going to hurt the price of this one. Again, that's just repricing where, you can't have a Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord really selling for like over $500 when you have a brand new Infinity War one, which looks fairly similar. Obviously, there's some major differences, like there's no tall code or anything. But when you see that happens, the same thing happens in the market where you start to see, assets repriced and correct, closer together. So, this figure, again, selling as much as $600 in the secondary market before, but as we got closer, and you see if you just go back, like, I don't know, call it a month and a half, this figure was selling for like $474, $525. This was basically like a $500+ figure. And now, couple of sales on bid, $320. Again, bidding is always a great representation of what's going on in the market, because sometimes you can see a really low price or a really high price, especially the really low prices. If it's just on buy it now or best offer accepted, it's not as telling, but bidding is a really good indication of what's going on in the actual market. So 320. So obviously we've seen that figure come down a bit. Surprisingly, Spider-Man Homecoming has held its own. This figure is a really, really good key indicator for what's going on in the overall market, because when you start to see Spider-Man Homecoming go down, the deluxe set that comes with a yellow jacket, that's probably one of the better performing like regular figures in the Marvel universe, like not like excluding like die-cast Iron Mans. So when you start to see this figure come down, that's usually a pretty good telling sign. But surprisingly, like there's not that much data on this one, but this one has held in relatively well. With that being said, I will say that in Facebook groups, which I wish I could show you guys, but I just don't want to put Facebook group listings in the videos because I don't want to expose people's identities onto the videos. But on Facebook, I've seen a couple of listings for these at like 400, 375s that have actually sat for a bit. So it's interesting, but on eBay, it seems like it's holding its own. Diecast Iron Man Mark 46 continues to sell 700+. This figure is just in such demand. I cannot reiterate this enough, that Mark 47 reissue is an absolutely insanely good pickup at retail. Do not sleep on that figure. This obviously the diecast Mark 46 is the same sculpt and armor as the Mark 47, just a different color scheme. But it's pretty remarkable that this figure can still, continue to stay in the $650 to $750 range. Someone got a good deal here. Maybe that one didn't come with a box. 515, 700, 635. Yeah, it's 650, 700 bucks. I don't know what's going on here. I always try and ignore some of those tail listings. Switch over a bit to Star Wars. So again, Director Krennic continuously feeling very bid right now. And this is a terminology that I'm going to use a lot in these videos. It's the same thing that you use when you're talking in the financial markets. Something feeling bid means that there's a lot of demand for it and the prices are going up. And then something feeling offered means that the price is like going down and it's very offered. Like people want to sell it. So there's more supply than there is demand. That's where like bid offer spread comes from in the stock market. But I digress. If you guys had seen my video when I made it for Tarkin before he went waitlist, I said that this was going to be an excellent figure to pick up. I imagine he's going to reprice somewhere similar in the secondary market to where Grand Moff Tarkin sits in like the 450-ish range. We've already been starting to see it now. It's still a good opportunity to pick up this one. There's still some sprinkling of listings on Facebook, like in the 290 area. You should definitely be jumping on those. Don't be that person that pays $500 for this. It's not at $500 yet. It could get to $500, but it's not $500 yet. You can still find this figure for $300. Obviously, these sold listings are a little bit older, but the most recent one being this $400 sale for looks like for a brand new one. So continuing, Hoth Leia. Hoth Leia has been doing very well. This listing was just 2 days ago, and this is $350. But like I've seen this figure. If this figure gets listed for $330 in a Facebook group, it's sold within 2 hours. This figure has done very well, which makes me feel very confident of how Bespin Leia will perform, and Endor Leia to a certain extent. I'm not as bullish on Endor Leia. But obviously with Snowspeeder Luke coming out, that was supportive for this figure. With that being said, this figure was trending up even before we got the Snowspeeder Luke announcement. But pretty remarkable that this figure can push through the $400 mark. Really showing that, this could be another A New Hope Leia, where A New Hope Leia basically sits around 475. Figures going up, there's also figures going down, and the very guilty of this is the Mud Trooper. We finally started to see this Mud Trooper come down. It basically sat in like the 425-ish range for about a month. But ever since we got the announcement of Ahsoka and the 501st Trooper, it seems like people are willing to take profits on some of their figures, especially like a Mud Trooper, which is one that they feel like they don't really need in their collection. As you can see, like just about a month ago, selling for $450 now. The latest one is, I guess there's a 425 one, but there's also this 365. If you check on Facebook, people are listing this all the time around like 380, and it's sitting for a couple of days. So if you do have this Mud Trooper and you're realizing that there's going to be a lot of clones coming out that you want to pick up, this is probably a good time to try and get out of this figure. Because with all the clones and Ahsoka and all the, these awesome figures that we're getting, once you get them in, who knows if the Mud Trooper is really going to fit on your shelf anymore. So definitely an interesting one, has been trending downwards. Doesn't really surprise me, just like these Clone Wars announcements. Like I think people are really realizing that they might, you could if we get like 3 or 4 clones announcements this over the next 12 months, whether it be 501st, 212, Wolfpack, whatever you have, you could very quickly find yourself purchasing like 10 of them across all the different battalions, even if you're just like a normal, like not too crazy collector. So when that happens, like there's always good opportunities to take profits on some of these figures that maybe you don't necessarily need in your collection. I also want to talk about The Last Jedi Kylo Ren. These sold listings are crazy. I have no clue what happened here. I was looking at this listing before I made this video for like 10 minutes. I don't understand this one. This one's not making sense to me, because this isn't like an overseas, like Asia or anything. Like this is just a normal US seller. That's it. It's just a regular Last Jedi Kylo Ren complete, selling for $715 with 74 bids. This was about 2.5 weeks ago. I do not know what happened. I don't know if this guy's like bidding up his own listing or something. This is insane though. Usually there's an explanation for why we have some great, like maybe sometimes it's Tim Cent, or sometimes it's Toys for Kid Adults, or it's just like a Japanese seller. But this one is just a straight up US seller selling looks like it has been opened. Kylo Ren Last Jedi for $715. If you have a Last Jedi Kylo Ren, it might be worth it to just throw it up on eBay and see what happens. Although, if you just look at this one, you know what? That's interesting. This has 74 bids as well. Is this the same seller? What's going on here? It's not the same seller. What is this? Is somebody bidding up their own listings? I don't understand. This figure is not a $700 figure, and this figure is not going for $700 in the secondary market. I'm not sure what these, what's going on with those, but nevertheless, regardless of that, this figure is still like somewhat starting to trend back up a bit, and this is a really good sale. I think if you have this Kylo Ren and you can get this figure off at like $400, I think that's a really, really good sale for you. And if you really want a Kylo Ren, then go pre-order the Rise of Skywalker Kylo Ren. But this is a figure that's going for, I just think is a bit overvalued. And we saw this figure dip about a month ago, 2 months ago, call it, to where you could find it in Facebook groups for like $290, $300 after it was like $450 for about 2 months. And it seems like it's starting to rise again, maybe with the rest of the hype with Star Wars. This is a figure that I'm not bullish on, and I would take profits on if you're looking to trim some fat from your collection. Empire Strikes Back Boba continuing to sell very well, $450. You guys already know my thoughts on this one. This is just the beauty of Star Wars and the beauty of the power of demand. The fact that this figure can just have so much supply and so many different variations and still sell for $400-$500 in the secondary markets is really remarkable. Looks like somebody got off a good buy on this one at $275. I'm not sure. Maybe there was something up with that one. But again, continuing to do well in the secondary market. Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan Kenobi Deluxe. Basically, he's sitting around where his price is basically identified, which is about $475. Anywhere from $450 to $500 is basically what this figure demands now. I think it's fair value. I don't think you get a lot of benefit out of selling this figure at $450 because I imagine it's probably just going to stay stuck around there. I also think it's not the worst thing in the world if you really want this figure to pay like $400, $425 for it in the secondary market. It really is an awesome figure. But that being said, we could get the Clone Wars Obi-Wan announcement any day. And if you are in the market for the Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan, I would hold out and wait for that announcement of the Clone Wars Obi-Wan. I don't understand because the market should be pricing it in as soon as it's announced, but for some reason, some people out there are going to list their Obi-Wan Kenobi Deluxes when that Clone Wars one comes out because maybe they're scared that it's going to go down in value, or they're scared that nobody's going to want this one. This one is very different from the Clone Wars Obi-Wan, from completely different movies, completely different look, and that's going to be a great opportunity for you to try and go scoop one of these. If the price drops on this one, you can scoop one for like $380 in the secondary market on the announcement of that Clone Wars Obi-Wan. That would be a great time. And on the flip side, if you own this one, do not sell it when the Clone Wars Obi-Wan gets announced because you're scared. Don't be scared. This is going to be a fine figure in the secondary market. Last one I want to talk about was Count Dooku. A lot of people ask me questions about this one. Again, he's starting to trend up as well. There's a couple listings selling in close to the $400 mark on bid, $420. If you guys saw my video, you knew I was very, very bullish on this figure from the beginning. It was just a no-brainer to me. It's a Sith Lord, very unique. The head sculpt was bar none. I think it was a steal at retail, and now we're starting to see it go up. And I think that this one is probably going to continue to go up, probably going to settle somewhere around $440 in the secondary market. You have a lot of upside with this figure. So if you guys can find this figure, don't pay eBay prices yet. There's still a lot of there's still a lot of figures left in the secondary market on Facebook that gets posted every now and then for like $300, $310, $320. Those are the ones that you want to try and scoop. You don't need to reach yet and pay eBay prices for this one. But if you don't have this one yet, sooner rather than later is when you're going to want to pick this one up, because you're not going to want to, there's going to probably come a point where you're not going to be able to sniff this one for under $400. All right, and that's going to wrap up today's first ever Market Watch on the 6Scale Economist channel. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this video? Do you guys find this insightful? Do you guys find this helpful or interesting or entertaining? If you do, I am definitely more than willing to start making this a weekly series where I will be doing these once a week. Just a Hot Toys Market Watch. So just let me know in the comment section down below. And don't forget, if you guys haven't entered all the way, I'll put the instructions in the description again below. We are on the road to 1,000 subs. At 1,000 subs, I will be giving each of these away to two 2 people into the group who all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe on one of the videos that I post between now and when I hit 1,000 subs. Again, the instructions will be in the description below. But thank you for tuning in. This is Economist, and as always, buy the dip, sell the rip. This is the way. We will see you in the next video.